Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Day After Podcast.
What's up, guys? Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, you take it. You got it. Good,
all right,
that's a good
yeah.
intro.
So I know like it's a little later, but like we've been busy doing stuff.
Mm.
But as soon as I got back from my trip, the first thing I did, other than talking to my roommate, was watch the latest episode of Survivor. And I
Mm.
gotta say, this one it's taking things into a very interesting turn.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if you watch how much you watch in terms of like other podcasters and other channels and stuff about Survivor, but it seemed like everyone started believing that a certain someone was going to win the season, and
Was it Zane? Oh, who was the certain
a
someone?
lot of people were thinking Tiffany was the winner of the season. They said that she
Oh,
had the winner's edits.
I
Um,
I felt like it was possible, especially since she made it this far in the game.
mhm.
But yeah, it was a little bit of a subversion of expectations. I mean, like because
I'm happy with it, to be honest. I actually like, off of what I've seen from Tiffany's game so far, like she would have had to ball out so much in like the final 6 to 8
yeah.
to what I would be considered to be like a good winner.
Well, I mean, yeah, I feel like with Tiffany's elimination, it's like there are a lot of big fish out there, and this
Yeah.
season is like very very fast and crazy. And with
Mm.
I think it's just the fact that it's the Yasa that did, except for Lena, who joined with everyone else. So it's like everyone against Yasa,
Mm.
and so it was just like not in their favor at all. Because Xander's too risky because of his idol,
Yeah.
and Evie won a challenge, so like she was off the table. So it was just like Stephanie was just kind of SOL in that situation.
Yeah, what I also found really hilarious. So remember when she turned the votes on Voce because she didn't understand Xander having the idol and she didn't want to vote for Xander who had the idol. Well, now the same thing happened to her where she gets
Poetic,
voted out because she's the one that doesn't have the idol.
poetic. I mean,
Yeah.
it is. And I'm glad she's like at least the first jury member.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we can officially say that we're in the jury phase, which is good. I wish Sydney was in the jury phase as well.
yeah.
I think she should have. I think it was a little screwed there, but at least
Part
we're
of
here
me
now.
is Now, part of me is still wondering if we're actually going to have a final two. It's
Hmm.
something where I feel like we need because it's just finally like they have 10 days left now.
Yeah.
Um,
What a
and like so
weird.
it's weird to think about, and I think that's why one of the big takeaways from this episode is Shan
Mhm.
and her utter, and you see it even more in like the next time on Survivor. She is like breaking down
Yeah,
mentally.
her game is blowing up in just this episode. I think it's the lack of food has finally gotten to her, as well as she was
Paranoid.
in such a power position in this pre-merge, and I think because she did so well that pre-merge, she's putting herself already on a different pedestal than everyone else,
I
and
think so.
thinks that, oh well, I was so great here, I can keep being so great. But the thing
I think
is,
that
yeah,
might be it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because like one thing that did kind of like happen again after like the reward challenge, but there's more I want to say about the reward challenge, but we'll get to that.
Mhm.
But like the whole thing with Ricard, which don't get me wrong, in that instance, I kind of understand where she's coming from.
Yeah,
However, like it was just like a small piece of papaya. Like, oh,
yeah,
I think that was the first time I had papaya. And
yeah.
no, I get like Ricard should have asked
Mhm.
first because, but like, I'm one thing that did get my attention is it did seem like Ricard was more worried about working with her moving forward as
Yeah,
opposed to like, Shan, who was like, it's my closest ally, but I don't know.
yeah.
Which I part of me does wonder is at him not necessarily pandering to the audience or like playing, playing towards the edit a little bit.
Hmm.
But it is something to like note that he
Yeah.
does seem pretty committed with Shan, as opposed to like Shan just being paranoid, which is kind of sad because I've been team Shan for so long, and to see her
Yeah.
break down like this, it sucks.
She's still great, but yeah, this was definitely not a good Shan episode in terms
No.
of what we could have gotten. I also want to point out they didn't show it, but apparently Ricard had a allergic reaction to the papaya. Yeah, yeah. So Shan's energy might have manifested itself.
Oh, dang. That's
Yeah.
that's kind of what? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's a weird little thing that happened that I wish they would have shown a little bit. I bet if Ricard, I'm guessing he's not the winner at this point. I think that he's not going to be winning the season. Because I think if he would have won the season, they probably would have shown something like that, probably to make Shan a bigger kind of villain, almost like here's this energy, and then
That's
it
a fair
cuts
point.
to him, having an allergic reaction.
Nah, it's yeah, I think at this point, like this is what, episode 8
Yeah,
or 7?
8.
8. We're 8 in, and so like the front runners, as I see it, are Danny, Nasir, Evie, Shan, kinda, but like this episode, her stock went down.
Are you not going to say
And
Deshaun?
Deshaun, well, I wasn't done.
Okay,
Deshaun
I thought
and
you were done.
Xander, but like for Xander, it's definitely an uphill battle.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
Xander, it's hard to imagine him getting to the end and not winning. Like, honestly, like he has such like this, like he's being shown, at least on Survivor's standpoint, that he's kind of the hero of the season.
Yeah,
He's getting,
it's a little tricky though, because like he's playing too nice from the bottom, which is it's like, I'd say that's the kind of difference between him and Nasir, because they both have that same archetype of like hero, good, and very generous. I mean, even like making sure that Erica had a chance to fight for food again. Like willing to do that, knowing it's a targeting move and all that stuff.
yeah,
Like he's definitely playing from the bottom and doing that, like, yes, in his heart it was the right thing, but it's something that's like digging in. And not only that, but also stepping down for immunity to get extra rice for people. Like this is something where he is positioning himself as like a bigger and bigger target with every episode. And the fact that he still has these advantages,
yeah,
like, and pretty cool and calm and collected with them.
Yeah, Ricard kept trying to get him to play his idol, and I could tell that Ricard was trying to just get him to play his idol. Like it seemed pretty obvious.
I think it's part of their strategy of like gaining his trust, and so not having him, play it and everything, just makes him feel more calm in that regard of like,
but they wanted him to play it. That was like the strategy.
True.
Yeah.
But now he might be more likely to play it or not play it, because like by the end of that, he was thanking them and stuff. Which also we got to talk about, and they made a point of it, of like the clue by the bench or in the bench, because it's totally different than what Michaela.
Yeah, this one you actually had to look.
Yeah, this one it's like, well, besides the Michaela thing, they've never really done that before. And so like I don't blame Xander for not really looking, because like other than Game Changers, which was totally different, it just wasn't it's not really a thing.
Exactly.
Now it is, but like I guess it does show you like, oh, sometimes these people don't pick up on this stuff. Now whether or not this advantage will be if we have just Jeff like hiding it again, so that's
if it appears next to the fire, I'm gonna be mad if they do that.
I don't think it's gonna do that. I don't think that. I am interested to see if there's, granted there are 3 people with idols right now. I wonder if there is another Beware idol out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder also what the Beware would be now with the merge idol, because you imagine there should be a merge idol, but it's, is there now just going to be two merge idols and you got to wait for both merge idols to get like found? I don't know.
Or if it's something where it's like similar to in Triple H, where she had to find the extra piece at the challenge. Maybe it's something where they have to, if it's another endurance thing, they have to drop out first, and it's going to be on the bench somewhere, maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, they also just might, we'll never know what this advantage could be, and it'll be lost in the annals of time.
Yeah. On that regard, it is interesting. It does seem like the people that are winning keep winning. It's who are on the winning side, and it's the little sad because Jeff even mentioned it to Liana while she was still fighting, which I think was a little. It was a little. There was something about that where I'm like, is he trying to yoke her down or like lead her down by saying that? Or like putting like little self-doubt, or like, because like he comments all the time, but I did find it a little like odd that he mentioned that and then she falls down. Now, I'm not accusing Jeff of anything.
Yeah.
But it was like, just the way it was edited did seem like it is a point that's being made in this story, as in like Survivor, where, because with the Blue Tribe in general, they kept winning, and then they, kept getting like, not
they got the merge feast, and now they got grilled cheese and chips.
It's a point they keep making.
And I also want to point out, that challenge started actually with rock draws again, and Erica yet again draws that rock.
I better hope it's not a tie vote that doesn't break, because then she's screwed.
Exactly. If that happens, it might be the funniest thing I'll ever see on Survivor.
It would be the funniest thing, but she's she's in better footing now. One like Erica thing, well, they didn't really blame her in the first place, but she definitely doesn't seem like a target now. It's interesting watching this because like Heather kind of came back from like, the background a little bit. And there was, when she was doing well in the challenge too, I was like, oh shit, okay. I wasn't expecting that. Granted, it was interesting that Jeff said that this was the shortest this challenge has ever ran too. It was.
You're talking about the immunity challenge?
Yeah.
I was still talking about the rewards challenge.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, because that's where they did the rock draw. And Xander also makes another heroic move by offering himself to take the spot instead, letting Erica get on a team that ends up winning.
Yeah, and then Evie makes a bigger target on her back by, don't get me wrong, like, she did her homework, because like, the buoy challenge and stuff, like, it's something they've done in the past in like different forms. Like sometimes it was coconuts or skulls, like that challenge pops up. And the fact that she really she forgot to push notification distracted me. She like remembered doing that challenge, and so she took charge. And like, I think it is like, as a Survivor fan, you do geek out when it was like, oh yeah, I know this, and had the payoff and everything. But I think like her celebration did put like a bigger target on her back, more so than like Xander.
I will say, I do think that she's in danger. I thought she was in danger this episode, because she does win that immunity. She saves herself, but like, I do think her time in this game isn't
limited
much long. I think she's got one, maybe two more episodes in this game.
I don't know. Like, it really depends on where the tide turns, because the way they're setting it up, and it could be them like, trying to misdirect us. it does seem like there is going to be a falling out with Shan with either Ricard or Deshawn, because like they made not only once but like twice in that same episode there was something that referred to that. So it's, I don't know, like, because like when you're on the bottom, you just have to survive long enough for the cracks to be like, really reveal themselves, and like she is cracking.
She's someone who should be in the position where she should be out looking for that merge idol. Like she needs to be looking, I think.
Well, I mean, it's a little tough because potential beware, but like, yes,
I really think she's gonna have probably the most heat on her until she gets taken out. Like I think she's always going to have heat on her because she's just always going to be perceived as the super fan, as the smart one, the strategic force that's, a lot of other people do not want to have to deal with later in the game.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of like threats in the game still, like, and she is someone that could be used as a meat shield, or like, because once her and Xander are gone and they have to cannibalize each other, like they no longer, because out of the threats, we have Shan, we have Ricard, we have Danny, we have I feel like Deshawn is on a lower, he's not as obvious as everyone else, in my opinion. Whereas
interesting. I actually think that he and Danny are like on the same level. I kind of think that they're going to be looked at almost as a Dom and Wendell type. Like they're going to be that kind of duo that's worked together quite a bit. And I think Deshawn might actually be able to take out the edge over Danny, even though I prefer Danny win personally.
Yeah, I do have to mention this. The little slow-mo part during the reward challenge, I was like, it just, it was cool. Like his hair just like going up and everything and going down. I'm like, that is a badass shot.
Yeah, that was the kind of shot that JD wanted this entire time.
yeah. But I mean, there's still some pretty big threats left in the game after those two go. I mean, like I know they were kind of like using Nasir as like an alternate target, but like there's just like, out of the people that are left, like those are like, they still have half of the people left will be big targets. And even Liana being like a traitor and stuff, like still could warn some stuff, because you never know. Granted,
it'd be hard, I think she would have to, because she's burned a lot of people now. I think she'd then have to win the size of everyone else that she hasn't burned yet to get that win. I see her also maybe not having the longest run in the game. I could see her getting idled out or something like that.
Maybe it's a little tricky. I mean, like with this whole thing with Shan, because part of the reason, other than them bonding over the same background and everything, like one of her biggest like ties into the game was Shan, and if sometimes it's guilty by association, and sometimes it might be like, oh, we can't get Shan. If Shan wins immunity, we might go after her number one. And Ricard is kind of there have been like some things with Ricard, and so he might be safe, whereas Liana, those two were like tied as soon as they met each other, and like a real number one, where like I can definitely see her getting targeted out of association with Shan.
Yeah. I also just want to point out who I really think has the best spot in the game right now. Just like, I just can't imagine them like getting taken out anytime soon, and that really is Danny and Deshawn. They are in just the greatest position you could ever want to be in the game. They have their majority alliance, and honestly, it still seems like they all want to stick together for at least a few more votes. It seems like they still got Danny, Deshawn, Heather wants to be in, Nasir wants to be in, Eric is a little in there, but I think she knows she likes Deshawn. Like that was her thing. She didn't like Sydney. Sydney's gone, so it actually kind of worked out for her. So, and then you got Shan and Liana who want to work with Danny and Deshawn. They still want this alliance to work, even though that it's clear that they're wanting to maybe target them as kind
Fair
of like
point.
a flip.
Yeah.
I don't see the reverse of that. And then obviously there's the Yasa, which is the minority alliance here, which, you know, they can still maybe get some idle plays to ruin this alliance, but like if you're looking at it purely from like where I would want to be, if you could choose any person in the game you would want to switch places with, it's Danny and Deshawn. They are in
Yeah.
the best position.
Yeah, I agree. The only reason that I feel Danny is a bit more secure is because he has no beef with anyone, whereas Deshawn has kind of beef with Shan, and to a lesser extent, but it's more so like, you know, with Evie and stuff. But that was because, like, you know, he kind of like, you know, blew up what she said about like Xander having advantage and stuff. But that's like a minor thing where it's like it's
Yeah.
not something that's going to break up his alliance at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I just want to be so excited if Danny wins the season and I can say, hey, I called the first pro athlete win. Like, because everyone just always says the athletes can't win this game. So if Danny wins this, I'll be happy.
I will be too. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What else have we need to talk about? Talked about that. About that. Oh yeah, we talked about the majesticness of Danny. Let's see. No, I think how it all went down with the immunity challenge, where Jeff was like, it is definitely like interesting, instead of like, you know, individual stuff, like, you know, or like a pizza party or something like that. It was more for, you know, tribal life.
Yeah.
Where it was like not just like one person, but like a bunch of people. Almost to like how Jeff said 7, kind of like 7's a big number. And I'm glad, you know, I'm glad, you know, they do get some food in their tummy and stuff, but like, you know, it is hard for that to happen. I'm like, I am like impressed that it actually was able to like pan out that way. But it was like, it was good in the sense of like, are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? And I'm surprised Shan was one of the first people. Yes, I know she's starving out there, but at the same time, I was like looking, and she's like, she's a little, you know, paranoid right now, and like having like immunity is something that might ease it a little.
Yeah, well, if you notice, the people who step out are the people who have immunity idols plus Ricard's. So Ricard probably felt like he wasn't in a good enough position there, and everyone else was like, "Hey, if it's going bad, I'll just play my idol. I won't go out this round."
And I think it was also smart for Ricard to go down, so he doesn't seem like, since he won the first like individual immunity challenge, it puts like a target. It always kind of puts a target on your back, because like when in doubt, that's one more reason to get rid of someone. So maybe like the attention's off him for a little bit.
I will say, I think that's a fair point, but I think that Xander takes the hero move away from Shan, because Shan starts the hero move by making the original bid and getting it and saying, I'll go for it. And then Xander ends up actually having the hero move by saying like, hey, if one more person does it, then I'll also do it. And so even though I think Ricard steps up forward there, I think that people are gonna say, they're going to say, Xander's the one that did it.
Xander's just like, was not only doing that in general, but doing that when he knows for a fact that he is on the bottom. And yes, he has an idol, and I feel like a nullifier, if it was in play, could have been played against him there. But, you know, the fact where, you know, even if you have like an individual immunity idol, you could always misplay it, or there could be a nullifier, or any of these different factors. You know, the only true way to get immunity, I can't even say that because of the events of the other episode.
But you never know anymore.
As far as we know, the only true way to get individual immunity is the only way to be safe. reverse that, strike that, reverse that.
Yeah.
That's my stance. The only way to,
Mhm.
guarantee immunity is to win individual immunity.
Yeah. Watch, we're gonna have like a reverse immunity advantage that starts coming up where you can play it at the end of an immunity challenge and say, let's run it back.
Yeah, it's I feel it's because of the backlash, maybe they might not
Yeah.
do that again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
yeah. Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
they try out like stuff before, but like we didn't see the medallion of power ever come back. And in fact, they kind of like
Yeah.
discarded that really quick.
Yeah, yeah, they discarded it like in the season. Like I think it was actually supposed to be like much more prominent in the season, but they
Yeah.
realized, oh, this isn't good. And also when that did happen with the hourglass, I guess at tribal council, Danny like leaned into Jeff for hours, like for like an hour, just saying that this is the worst thing that he could have done. He should like and was like really letting him have it. So interesting that we really didn't see much of that. We got a little bit of just him Danny being like, oh, they wouldn't do this for the Super Bowl, but that was about it.
Yeah. I feel, I mean, it's still like a hard thing to like, I know it's in the sake of the game. However, just because it's like it shouldn't have been there in the first place in a lot of people's opinion. Like, yeah, that's like how it is, but it didn't have to be that way in the first place.
Yeah, well, I think there's tweaks to it that you could like. The problem really is that you gave all this power to one person.
Erica.
To Erica, to someone who hasn't first off even really been on the season. So now suddenly she has this ginormous amount of power right before the merge, and she didn't do anything to earn it. It's not like she had to find something or win a challenge to get it. She just got it
random.
Yeah, exactly. And anyone who knows anything about game design knows that randomness can be good, but you have to have a controlled amount of randomness. You can't just have randomness for the sake of randomness.
Yeah, because otherwise it just doesn't.
Yeah,
it's not as fulfilling as a story.
Exactly.
But yeah, what else do we have? So I want to make sure we have everything. Because
I did want to point out something actually. The mini challenge, Naseer stepping down. I thought he wanted to win that challenge. Like when they showed that challenge, I was like, ooh, he's probably going to be one of the better ones in that.
Yeah.
And he even said something like, yeah, I practiced for that one. I would have won.
he has. Did he say chicken legs, or he had some kind of like animal legs that would give him an advantage in that. And there was a little thing where, how someone in the edit's like, oh, I'm not going home. When he said that, part of me is like, Mr. Incredible with like the dark saturated background. And I'm like, I was
I was worried.
Yeah.
I'm still in the boat that I think it would be a shame for him to go anywhere before Final Eights. Like, I still think he needs a few more episodes being here. Like, I just think it would be a shame for him to go out in either this or next episode.
I do want him to make it at least halfway through. It's tough because he has it all. He's likable. Like the only thing is like the difference between him and Xander is that he's in a majority alliance, basically, where Xander has to do the bottom. And it's not going to be too long before they're like, Naseer has to go,
Yeah, you can't get to the end with Naseer still. I still believe that. Like, he doesn't need to do much in the game. Like that was honestly almost Ty's problem, was he ended up doing too much in the game in Kerrang, where he started, and which ended up burning so many bridges. Like, I don't think like.
Well, Ty was also kind of with the wrong crowd too, but like right at the time, but he kind of stuck with it for a while. And granted, it helped like, advance him further in the game, but it did cost him a few jury votes.
Yeah. So I think he needs to just try to play it just like calm. If they do try to turn it on him, he has an idol. So, and I think he'll play it correctly. I think he's gonna have the wherewithal to do it.
He has a good read on things.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. I also want to point out Xander's reasoning actually for not doing the reward challenge, for taking Erica's spot and wanting to be, he wanted to be with the losers. He wanted, which I thought this was very interesting. The fact that he wanted to be with everyone who's not getting grilled cheese, because they're gonna have, some more resentment towards those with the grilled cheese, and he wanted to kind of get in with them because he knows that they'll probably vote emotionally. So let them know where their emotions are.
That's fair. That's fair, because you see it all the time. The losing tribe, they strategize a lot more than the people that win, because obviously because they don't have like food to distract them. But on that note, I did like Nasir's ideology of like, yeah, you can cry about it, or you can go out and like get food and like feed yourself. Like, it is something where I know for everyone, like it's something, it varies between people and people, but like, having the initiative to go out and like feed yourself and stuff, and not doing it in a petty way either. Like, this island provides, and so he just took the initiative and went out and get it, as opposed to like, just like, sulking a little bit. Yeah, he was upset, but at the same time, he was like, no, I got to go get food.
Yeah, exactly. And that'd be my if I ever lose a reward, I'd be like, okay, let's go get some food. There's probably some fruit trees or something that we can go get some snacks. Like raise everyone's spirits. Like don't. But yeah, there's that. Also, Heather almost wins an immunity challenge. What do you think of that?
I was a little surprised. Also, the fact that she thought she was in danger.
Yeah. She's in no danger.
I think that in a sense where she may feel like the bottom of her alliance. However, that's like far away. And I don't know, like, who knows? Maybe Heather has something in the back pocket that we don't know about yet. But then again, that challenge went by so fast that it was hard to like really gauge what really happened there.
As you said, they said it was the fastest time that had ever happened. And it was just like, it literally, the challenge started and 4 people dropped like right away.
Yeah. So you never know. I mean, it also depends challenge by challenge what it might be. I think I think we're definitely, there's too many people for an obstacle one. I definitely think we'll see something more puzzle oriented next time. I mean, they do like in this kind of period to have a lot of balanced ones. I wouldn't be surprised if we have another like 1 or 2 more balanced ones before we start kind of getting the bigger kind of stuff. You never know. And who knows, there could be like a challenge we haven't seen before.
I hope, because I've liked the new challenges they've added this season, to be honest. Like it actually almost then you see some of these older challenges and you almost kind of like, oh yeah, there's this. But it's not as interesting. And plus you get that kind of stuff where Evie just in a couple of seconds is able to get a puzzle because she's seen it before, and it's once you know that puzzle, you can do it over and over again. It's not
because there's only so many pieces, and it's not if it's able to be replicated, then you can easily replicate it.
I bet you that puzzle is retired now.
Probably.
Well, the second someone points out something like that, it's over.
Kind of like similar to the granted they only used like twice, but I think part of the reason the whole 7-piece, or was it 7 or 5-piece puzzle?
Which one?
The one that Spencer lickety split in Second Chance, where he like got it immediately.
Oh, I think it was 5.
5?
Yeah.
Like once you know.
Exactly. I think that's also been a problem with like a lot of slide puzzles, like because once you know the trick to a slide puzzle, you can do it very quickly. So they usually kind of they'll maybe have one slide puzzle thing in a season because they can't have too many.
and even then, they kind of, because they did have it in the Mergatory challenge, but it
Mhm.
wasn't your typical like image one. It was like a
Yeah,
letter one and
yeah,
a lot trickier to like
yeah.
navigate.
Yeah, they had to combine the slide puzzle element with the word puzzle element make it a little more difficult.
Yeah.
Because I mean, yeah, you see also in David versus Goliath, Christian Hubicki had the slide puzzle, and he's like, "Yeah, I created a code for slide puzzles. This is just what you do."
Yeah, and then even Zeke and Millennials versus Gen X, he was like, "Yeah, I do this on my phone."
Yeah.
Um, I mean, granted, like when you go into Survivor, there's always going to be things that you're going to have an advantage on based on who you are as a person,
Mhm.
like whether it's physical or whether it's like puzzles or
Yeah.
whether it's just naturally being like a social person. Like
Yeah.
you're always going to have like different advantages coming in. So
Mhm.
sliding puzzles is a pretty big one.
Yeah. That's one of the things that if I ever go out there, I'm going to actually excel on because I have slide puzzles on my phone and I learned the trick to it. So
For me, it's going to be obstacle courses.
mhm.
Because being adaptable, being slender, and being fast, I can navigate. There was this thing I
Mhm.
was doing while we were filming where I had to run in this like rocky area, like parkour and stuff,
Mhm.
a little bit. So like doing that, and then like this is not too different from an obstacle course where I have to like jump over things or whatever.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think like that will definitely be one of my fortes, and endurance, because
Um,
I can be stubborn and I have strong will. So like I think those would be my two big challenge things. And running, of
mhm.
course, because
Yeah.
like, I'm fast.
Yeah. I am not going to excel at running. I'm going to just try to do the puzzles. I'll try to make up all time in puzzles.
I mean, I, if we're on the same team, I'm going to buy as much time as possible for you.
Yep.
Uh, Speaking of which, I know this is like side related, but I heard that Sandra is going out with her daughter in Australian
I
Survivor.
heard that too. Yeah.
Which I think it's interesting in the fact of like, I think that it does like bring more of a, all right, yeah, I can get behind Sandra doing another season now because she's talked about her kids,
Yeah.
before. And like, even from her very first season, you've seen her like, with that, like, I believe she was still a mother at that point,
Mhm.
just like, yeah, but like, like a newer mom.
Mhm.
I know at the very least she was married, but
Yeah.
like, um,
Yeah.
getting to see that, it does like make it a little bit more interesting.
Yeah. And I think Australian
When I
Survivor
do get
might.
down.
I think it might honestly fit her better because I have heard that they do have a lot more luxuries in terms of when you're out there. Like they got toilet paper, they got you're not really. The rumor is that you're not starving as much as normal Survivor as well. Like there's a lot more food and like trying to make sure everyone's eating and everything.
Well, that's fair. I still need to like watch seasons in general. I mean, probably
Mhm.
once this season is over, I'll start, watching, filling my Survivor taste
Yeah,
buds.
yeah. There's a bunch on Paramount Plus now, so there's
I
that.
know, I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think the only thing, if my notes have, yeah, because we've touched on pretty much everything,
Mhm.
other than like the time to vote thing, where it was like time to vote, and then Tiffany and Heather. And
Yeah.
so it
Oh,
just like,
we got Heather screen time as that. This was the most we've seen Heather in the entire show, and it was this episode.
yeah. It might be interesting going forward if she has like a turn in narrative.
If
Because
she's
she,
the winner,
stopped Jeff from like having the vote. It's like,
yeah,
oh, can
yeah,
I whisper something? Yeah, we can still talk. You can't do it while you're
yeah,
voting and stuff, but like,
yeah. Yeah, I've also heard the rumor is also why we haven't gotten a lot of Heather is apparently she swears like a sailor, and that's actually in her bio is that she curses all the time. She acts like a high school boy. That's like what she describes herself as, and I think they don't want all of that on the screen for Survivor. Like they want the mom character to be like
bleep, 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 bleep.
yeah, they don't want to be doing that.
Yeah, actually, I learned this while I was on set this week. I am very good about controlling my mouth when I'm on, set. Because usually, I mean, you guys have seen me curse all the time,
Yeah.
but I'm better about it when I'm in a professional setting. And I feel like Survivor, especially since I'm being filmed, I would do this. So like, I was a little worried for a sec because I'm gonna be like, basically, I just wouldn't be able to speak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I coach kids for video games, and yeah, that's something I had to learn was like, okay, make sure I don't say shit, don't make sure I don't say fuck. Like now I go like, oh shoot.
It's something I think it does. So this is good practice for you, being around kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes I still say it around kids, but I'm better at it, I guess, than I was before. Anywho, swearing aside, no. Yeah. All right. So who would you think is the MVP of this week?
So I don't know if we're gonna actually agree on this because I'm actually picking someone who I think would have gone home if they did not win that immunity challenge, and that's Evie. I
No,
think
I agree with Evie here.
Oh, really? Okay, cool.
Because one, she slayed at the challenge.
Yeah.
And two, well, both challenges she slayed, and it's something where, like you said, she would have gone home and everything, and like, it's like I do think she played the best game because Shan kind of scrambled and like and like there was just like chaos on the other in the majority alliance with first it's Nasir, that's going to be it, then Heather, then it was like supposed to be split the votes between Tiff and Xander, and like there was like so much discourse that was happening there that from where Evie was, her standpoint, she played the best game.
Yeah, exactly. I like to give the props to anyone who good chance was going home and they were able to on their own accounts save themselves. Like I always give that more rewards than maybe voting correctly like that. Like it's I like really the people who are able to by their own merit keep themselves in the game. And I mean a close second up for me would be Xander. I think if you would have found that advantage and the Beware wasn't that bad and it was a great advantage, then maybe he takes over that spot.
But I think also it's just like the only other thing is like Xander, he gave himself more hero cred, but that's it's well, I mean, he's already like him and Evie are the biggest threats.
Yeah.
It's like that's not really gonna change. So like if you're gonna, be a threat, you might as well go all out and do whatever the hell you want anyway.
Yeah, and they're they're the last two Yasa members too. They're the I mean Liana's there too, but like she's turncoated. She's taken a blue coat,
pretty much.
Yeah.
So. And LVP, on that same note, I don't like.
I know who you're about to say.
I would ever give it to Shan.
Yeah.
Because like losing composure this early in the merge, I just feel like it's going to do a lot of damage to her game. And like, things kind of were resolved right now, but like stuff like this, long-term wise, I don't even think long-term, short-term, we're only 10 more days in the game. This is going to.
Yeah, I could really see her playing her idol next episode and then getting voted out the next episode. Like I could see that be her course. Imagine how crazy it would be if she gets voted out on the double boot episode with Ricards.
I think it's possible because because I do feel like another double boot one is coming, especially since we had an episode with no elimination.
Exactly.
So whether it's next up, I mean, they usually do it at this time at 10 in Modern Survivor. They usually do it when it's at 10 or 11.
Yeah.
So it could be next episode and they just didn't do it yet.
Didn't do it, yeah.
They
Yeah.
didn't announce it, so surprise.
Yeah, who
But
knows? But yeah, I think we're gonna see some idle plays next episode. To be honest, I think people are gonna start getting a little skittish.
yeah, especially if they do it with Shan the way she is, and the Seer's name popping up, and Xander, he only has Evie.
Yeah, I think also once you have a known idol, like those are only good for a couple votes. Like you kind of
Yeah.
need to just like you need to play it. Like you just need to get the idols out there, so that way
Yeah.
you're like, okay, it's gone.
And especially because if they do a double elimination, it's going to be next episode, and I feel what's going to happen is, and I like how they do this too, because it really does shake up the game. They're going to split them up into tribes of two, and then tribe A goes to tribal council and tribe B. And like whenever it's a short number like that in chaos, you definitely want to play an idol.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we've seen in the past.
Yeah, imagine if all three idols are on the same team for
That'd
that.
be bonkers.
That'd be crazy. I would feel so bad for those other two.
Yeah. Another thing I have to like mention, I feel like Shot in the Dark is just something that will probably not be played for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
I think Sydney kind of set the tone for what it does.
Yeah.
And also the fact that Evie said it, what you said last time, that if it wasn't for her playing that vote, Evie would have been going home.
Exactly.
So it's like, it just has like a negative vibe about it.
That's exactly. It's just like when you let people know about that twist, you're just not going to let it be where everyone is against one person, one or two people. Like you're going to try to make sure everyone's in, so that way they either don't play it or they think that, oh, maybe I will be fine, maybe I do have the vote, so I'll just not do it, because every vote matters in Survivor, and so losing your vote for a 16% chance of staying around it's not worth the risk.
It's potential. I'd say the only person that might at this stage in the game is Evie, because she doesn't have the vote. She's a known target. And I don't think, even if something happened where Shan was like, I'm only using Shan, just given the narrative, if like people wanted to turn on Shan or maybe Naseer, I don't think she would believe it, because why would she at this point?
I'm excited. I hope that Brand Steel also, by the way, updates with this season, because I want to see our Brand Steel simulators trying to understand what Shot in the Darks do.
It's going to be tricky. I mean, I think it would be a lot easier to code than the fire tokens.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I think given the two seasons so far as we see season 41, I'd say this one would be easier to code from an outsider looking in, because when you're dealing with currency, I would imagine that would take a lot more to deal with, as opposed to just these advantages, which they've already kind of became accustomed to using.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think I'm gonna be fun for that. I'm excited. By the way, they announced Survivor 42 coming out on March 9th.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
It's actually 2 weeks further back than we usually get Survivor. So that means we get 2 more weeks of Brand Steel before we go back into Survivor.
Yeah, and Australian Survivor reviews, if you didn't know already.
Yeah. So there's gonna be a lot coming up.
Oh yeah. I guess so right now I have 4 people left. You have 6. So things are not looking too well for me, especially since Naseer is one of them, Shan is one of them. I'd say the only 2 that aren't that risky is Erica and Heather, and even they have been in hot water. So it's
Yeah,
Better luck
yeah.
next time, Ryan, choosing.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think if you're the one who loses someone next episode, it's gonna be almost impossible for you to make a comeback in terms of the points.
I mean,
Um,
I kind of figured when I mean, I had a glimmer of hope when both Tiffany and
yeah,
Heather made like the merge,
yeah.
and but it's something where after I made that list, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. I'll be honest. Last week I was looking at the list and I thought you had the better list.
In the sense of like
Out of the
you
people who
have a
were
lot of
there.
threats.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I just thought that you had like the winner candidates that like people were talking about as like winner candidates. And I had like one that people thought could potentially win. So
Well,
I
I
was
mean,
just like,
I'd say out of the four I have, the person that is most likely to win is Nasir. But the thing is, Nasir
yeah,
is
I still don't think
too.
he's winning.
The thing is, now I don't think Shan is going to win because
Yeah,
she's losing it right now. And I hope
yeah,
like she recovers from it or something. But
yeah.
with only so many episodes left,
Yeah, I think she's going to be considered one of those like great players to not win. Like I think that's kind of her destiny.
I mean, because we're looking at the longevity of Survivor,
Mhm,
I feel like she's someone where maybe a second chance season, but
mhm.
because she's losing her composure, her stock as a great contestant is going down now.
Yeah,
And we've seen little hints at that in the UA tribe,
mhm,
because that's partially because she kept going to tribal council and like she
yeah,
had to like, but even then she was still like playing one hell of a social game and stuff. Right
yeah.
now she's more panicked. We're not even getting her evil theme anymore.
No, yeah, I think she's I think she hit a brick wall and she's now just trying to not die. Like I think
Yeah.
she's just trying to do that, and but yet she still has she has that Boston Rob almost attitude, like it's got to be done my way or it's not going to be done at all. Like it needs to be done like this.
Yeah,
Um,
and Rashawn called her out on it, and I think it's sad. I don't want. I mean, like, I'm not going. Like, my opinion of this season is not going to go down. Like, I'm not bitter in that way,
yeah,
but like, it just like genuinely watching how she was doing so well to this. I'm like, for watching her as a player, and
mhm.
like not just someone that's rooting for her. I'm like, dang, that's something that's like her stock is going down a little, which is it's one of those things where it's like that's just the story of it.
Yeah.
But oh well.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I agree. I think she's got to get the LVP for this episode after having great episodes. This definitely was the episode that's I think showed how like her downfall. I think this is what showed her weak points, which is going to lead to her downfall a few
Yeah.
episodes in the future.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome. I think that pretty much then does it for this episode. I think we've covered everything. Do you have anything else that you can think of?
No. Yeah, I think this episode was kind of straightforward. I mean, there was just like a lot of different things that were kind of like going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah.
Nice. Okay. Well then I guess we're gonna end this episode here. And yeah, we're gonna see you guys in the next one.
All right. Peace out, guys.